It's like it's crazy on multiple levels. It really is. I'm not sure how everybody else is looking at these situations, but like I get it. I get that y'all are in power and you guys make decisions, and you know, there's groups of people that do that, right? I get it. I even get that you have bad intent, right? Like you don't got good stuff going on. Get that. I get that you're gonna crash your economic system that you've built and you've been running, right? I get it, but like I just don't get the amount and degree to which they lie. Clearly, playing all of us for stupid, or trying to incite uh, conflict and riots, unrest. Period. To that note, that's something I've been saying for a long time. They've been playing that card for quite a long time. George Floyd was a big pinnacle moment in that whole thing. Um, and there's no doubt about it that their goal has been to get us to civil unrest so they can clamp down hard, right? Like I've been saying this for a long time. We are nowhere near divided down the middle in this country, right? Definitely was saying that during the first Biden and Trump election. Definitely during the midterms. I got an article on my Substack about that, about those midterms, saying that they were the last chance for us to save the country in an election, right? And I ended up being right there for sure. We might have a little chance here, but like it could be too far gone. They might have control of polling to such a degree that it might not matter. Even if it does matter and we win a valid election, right? Biden himself said the other day that he was asked about transition of power, right? Like a scenario of transition of power. And he basically was like talking about unrest and violence breaking out.
Think of this. Every other time the Ku Klux Klan's been involved, they wore hoods so they're not identified. Under his presidency, they came out of those woods with no hoods, knowing they had an ally. That's how I read it. They knew they had an ally in the White House. And he stepped up for them.
Are you confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power in January 2025?
If Trump wins, no, I'm not confident at all.
That's reassuring.
I mean, if Trump loses, I'm not confident at all. He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath.
Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath. Have to be a stolen election. Look what they're trying to do now in the local election districts where people count the votes. They're putting people in place in states that they're going to count the votes, right?
So you see, like these people don't stop.
They're going to count the votes, right?
They don't stop.
Count the votes, right? You're going to count the votes, right? Count the votes, right? You can't love your country only when you win.
So you see, like these people don't stop. They don't stop. That's why, like, I think most people are expecting something coming at Trump's head again. They don't stop. It's important that collectively, us as citizens, realize what's happening, right? We have power in this. We are the society that they think they're controlling. All we need to do is stand up and brush them off of our back. And, like, that's it. It can go down just like that. Non-violent and everything. I've been shouting this idea of all of our institutions being corrupt and obsolete and non-functioning and broken. Government being obsolete in the sense of two-party politics is clearly a setup. I've been shouting that for quite a long time, years, and everything has finally come around to the point where people are starting to see it. I don't sound crazy when I talk about it, and I actually got people agreeing with me now. And simply, I think we've come to this point where, Chris Martenson talks about this. If you go back, how he covered COVID, he talks about basically the dissemination of information, right? How hidden truths go from being like censored and talked about and looked at as crazy, right, all the way up to being discussed as common knowledge. And I think it's something like, when you hear other people talking about it in the subway, right, or in line, then it's become common knowledge. And there's various steps on up to that. It's like when you can talk about it with someone in public and not be ridiculed, it's a certain step. But these things, the breakdown of our system is becoming common knowledge. So they thought they were going to be able to crash the dollar and land on their feet, right? Implementing a new system. And that's where that's what I don't understand, man. Like they fucked up so bad because they lost the credibility of the West to the international community. Clearly, Western citizens are too inept to do anything. The only people doing anything at this point, well, I mean, we've been censored and shut down, but like we should be realizing what's happening. I think in Britain things have come to a head right now, but that may be more for divisiveness than for rebelling against authority. And that's what they do. They want to capture the energy that we all have, the frustration, the discontent of failure of our authority figures, failures of government. And they want to take our discontent with that, collectively, our energy, and they want to pump it into the issues that they divide us over: racism, gender, fill in the blank. So it's our job collectively to understand that and come together and stay focused on the issue at hand. The issue at hand being the system we're in is corrupt. In my opinion, we can get out of it pretty easily, and all of our lives are on the line. It's not just like the future, the potential future for us and our children. It's literally our lives are on the line, man. They came for all of us. They didn't just come for us with those experiments, this is a genocide. And then they came around and came after the guy that enabled them to get them into place anyway. The president himself, right, who pushed forward warp speed, literally. Now, I blame Trump for that to some degree. Like I don't want to vote for him again. This whole series of events possibly may change my opinion because I think it might be more important to make sure I vote for him. But as far as him being responsible for warp speed, that's bigger than like a blemish on him and a mark on him. That's a terrible evil responsibility and blood on his hands. He should be behaving in a certain way where he is distancing himself from all that. And in my opinion, he hasn't done so. I've actually heard him do the opposite and continue to pander for the pharmaceutical companies up until recently. Really, up until Bobby Kennedy became involved.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is suspending his independent campaign for president.
In my heart, I no longer believe that I have a realistic path to electoral victory. I am not terminating my campaign. I am simply suspending it.
Which, God, I mean, if Bobby Kennedy had a normal voice, we'd have a freaking great president. Ain't that a shame? I mean, if you don't think that's it, come on, man. That has to do with most of it, in my opinion. If he had a good voice, if he didn't have that going on with his voice, he'd be good, yo. Prayers for him, and prayers for Trump. How about that?
On Thursday, Donald Trump said he would be honored to receive his endorsement.
So anyway, with Kennedy becoming closer to Trump potentially and his potential administration, that's good signs.
Kennedy first entered the presidential contest as a Democrat, but later switched to an independent bid, complaining the rules for collecting Democratic delegates were rigged in Joe Biden's favor.
Don't forget he was treated very unfairly. I think he would have beaten Biden in a primary.
Because what he needs to do is he needs to make Kennedy his attorney general, and he needs to sick him on this whole situation. Just you go, bud. You go, you get your people, and sick him on the pharmaceutical companies like a pack of rabid wolves, right? Period. Let him go. If Trump does that, if that would line up to be like what we're looking at, then that would, for me, take away his responsibility having to do with warp speed.
Kennedy is the third of 11 children born to Robert F. Kennedy Sr. and Ethel Kennedy, and has built a reputation as an activist, author, and lawyer who fought for environmental causes. Along the way, his activism veered into conspiracies and contradicted scientific consensus, most infamously on vaccines. Kennedy has used non-traditional platforms like podcasts and YouTube to build a following with younger voters and those who distrust institutions. He built an unusually strong support base for someone running without the backing of a major party.
They're coming after anybody that stands in any sort of way. We got to know what time it is, man. So that's a little status update, and I hope you guys enjoy the edits of these videos I made recently. I like to do videos where I talk. I have a lot to say, but I find myself digging into these edits because when I talk about certain things, I want to show proof, right? And then I'm obsessive in things that I do, and it starts to turn into that. So I think I got to find a happy medium on this channel with the content I produce, and that maybe not. Maybe I'm just all over the place. Maybe sometimes I'll have long forms where I'm talking like this, and then I'll have these edits that really speak for themselves. I'm quite proud of how those are coming together. So if you guys haven't seen any of those, I got something on the Cheadle hearing. I got basically all recent events, man. 4 or 5 of them. Check them out. Channel's brand new. I'm Zach. Hope you guys are having a good night. Beautiful sunset here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Amish country, and hope you guys enjoyed it. This channel, at the end of the day, will always be run for free. I put my time and effort into this and my life into this because this is what needs to happen, and this is the most important thing happening right now. And I've always lived my life in a way where I've moved issues forward socially. But I'm committed to doing this for nothing more than just to spread information to people because, I care about the world that I want to hand to my kids. And also because the suffering, the needless suffering that all of this causes is heartbreaking to me. And in my opinion, I find us in the West as citizens ultimately responsible for a lot of it because we're consenting to our government's actions. Oh boy, something else to look out for. I'm pretty much ready to cut the video, man. I got something coming up, really good one. I think it's going to be a good one. Not quite sure on the title, but I think it's going to be something like a whole bunch of reasons why you live in a neo-colonial empire and not a democracy. And I think that'll be informative for a lot of people. So stay tuned to the channel, please. Appreciate your support. Help me grow. And, sub my stuff, of course, but get this stuff out there to people who can use it and who it might interest. All right. Blessings out there, man. Peace.